Hello again everyone, I'm Paul the Nitro Skywars and welcome once again to another edition of the Nitro Corner. Today is Saturday. We're going to begin part 1 of our weekend report with the Smackdown report. We'll start off with a promo from Randy Orton. It seems like every time Orton does a promo these days, every 30 seconds he gets interrupted, and this was no exception as Christian comes out there and says that he wants one more chance at Randy Orton's World Heavyweight title. Unfortunately for them, they were interrupted this time by Sheamus, as the Celtic Warrior also wants a title shot at the World Heavyweight title. That was quickly interrupted by the world's strongest man, Mark Henry, who says he wants a title shot at the world's title. Well, Theodore Long comes out there and solves everyone's problem by ordering a triple threat match between Christian versus Mark Henry versus Sheamus, and the winner will get a world title shot next week on Smackdown. We'll see what happens a little bit later on when we talk about the main event. Next up, Sin Cara scores a victory over Chavo Guerrero in a rematch. Very impressive finishing maneuver from Sin Cara, something new out of him. We'll be seeing plenty more of Sin Cara in the near future. And then a upset as Daniel Bryan defeats Cody Rhodes by submission using the label lock. Cody Rhodes attacked him afterward and laid him out with the crossroads and then put the paper bag over his head. But the bottom line is, at the end of the day, Daniel Bryan pulls an upset win over Cody Rhodes. Next up, we saw Ezekiel Jackson score a disqualification victory over Heath Slater because of outside interference from the core, and a disqualification was ruled. Ezekiel then took care of the core, left them running for the locker room. Big win for the big guy, Ezekiel Jackson. Speaking of big guys, next up, the Battle of the Big Men saw Kane defeat the Great Khali this week, and then Khali gets slapped again by the mystery man whose name is Jinder Mahal. I guess he is the older brother of Rajin Singh, the manager of the Great Khali. And once again, Jinder slapped Khali. Khali responded by turning his back on his manager with the head crush. We'll be seeing plenty more of the new Great Khali in the near future with this Jinder Mahal. Next up, Booker T decides to have a little fun at Michael Cole's expense by bringing him into the ring and have the fans chant, "Kiss my foot." I would tell Michael Cole to kiss something else, but I'm going to remain clean about this. Nice touch from Booker. After that, they had once again the repeat of the tribute to the Macho Man Randy Savage, who passed away last week in a car accident. There was no, on a side note with Randy Savage, this past week TMZ reported that there was a weapon in Macho Man Randy Savage's car, but it was registered to the Macho Man. He was an avid target shooter, and that's why he had the weapon in his car at the time. He and his wife were very avid target shooters. Unfortunately, no toxicology reports have come out yet on Randy Savage's death, but when they do, I'll pass it along to you fans here on the Nitro Corner. Moving on now, a Diva Squash match, as I like to call it, as Tamina and Alicia Fox score a win over NXT 3 veterans AJ and Caitlyn, with Natalya Neidhart at ringside. Was basically a squash match and not really much doing. And then moving on to our main event, saw Sheamus defeat Christian and Mark Henry in the #1 contenders match, thanks to the Braun boot of Sheamus on top of Christian for the 3 count after Randy Orton attacked Mark Henry after Mark Henry shoved him during the match. So it will be Sheamus versus Randy Orton next week on SmackDown. And that ended the program for SmackDown. And in my opinion, SmackDown was a good show with the triple threat main event. Great Khali turning his back on Ranjit Singh, and of course Michael Cole getting humiliated. It's all worth the while. So SmackDown was a good show for this week. And that's it for this edition of the Nitro Corner. I'll be back with part 2 of the Nitro Corner, featuring the Nitro Top 10 and a new feature every once in a while, the 1CW Top 10 from the Brothers in Arms card. Till then, I'm Paul the Nitro Skywers saying so long, everybody.